Okay, so this second video, right, we will look into UV laying out this teddy bear. So as usual, before we do a UV layout, we must always delete away the history, freeze transformation for both models. I'm gonna name it accordingly. Call this teddy bear head. And I think for the body is quite straightforward because at level 1, right, you can see that this body is very simple. And the thing that we want to do is that we want to make sure that we cut enough seams, right, to have the arms and legs unfold. But for this type of objects, right, or for even characters like these, right, you can think of it as you are the maker of a soft toy. Now, if you are a maker of a soft toy, right, where would you cut the seam? Okay, normally you want to make sure that the seam of this kind of toys, right, are hidden. Alright, so you will cut it in such a way that it is not so obvious. Okay, so we are going to identify the edges, right, of this model to cut. So usually, right, I will start from the back and then I'll cut maybe around the legs. Okay, and then if you look at the design of this soft toy here, you notice that the ends of the teddy bear, right, have these round patches over here. So maybe I want to tweak the model a little bit more, okay, to give it a much nicer, rounder patch. Okay, right now, because this is such a low resolution model, after subdivision it's going to look like that. So I'm going to insert one edge loop around here and here so that it gives me enough faces to do that circular patch. Then same thing for the ends of the hands here. Holding down the control, middle mouse click in your multi-cut tool, control, middle mouse click. Now we have enough rounded areas, right, for us to create or assign at least a different material, right, for this section over here. Alright, so pressing Q to go to select. So let's start with the body first, and we're going to load up our workspaces UV editing. Alright. Again, we're going to delete away the history and freeze transformation. Now, there are many ways you can do this. We can start off by doing a automatic projection and see what it gives us. Now, the problem with automatic projection is that it projects from all sides, and then your model, right, will end up with all these multiple faces, and it makes it a little bit hard to stitch together. I mean, you need to find out like which part is which, and then you need to stitch it back together. For example, you go to edge mode. So we know that this edge connects to another face over here, so you need to go to move and sew and all that, and then you have to go and do the unfold again, and then we end up with this shell. When we try to unfold, right, you will have another edge, right, that potentially could overlap this. Okay, so the method I'm going to use is a little bit more manual, but it ensures that I have a proper UV layout for this character. Okay, rather than doing auto and then you try to manually try to stitch back everything, so this is going to take way too much time. So I'm going to switch back to object mode again, select the object, go to UV and use a camera based projection to have a basic UV out first. So the first thing I want to cut out is the patches, so I'm going to double click and select these loops. Alright, then going over to the UV layout, shift right mouse click and then cut. So I'll end up with separate shells for the feet pad and then the hand pad. So I'm going to do the same for the hands here. Go to edge mode and select the edges here like that. Shift right mouse click and cut. Then you can see the ends are now separate shells. You can cut it out like that. Alright, so next I'm going to think like I'm a tailor. So the edges that I want to cut is for the legs. Okay, right now let's say I'm going to extract out the legs. I'm going to cut out from this edge loop. So since the number of edges here are quite minimum, I can just manually select them like that. So imagine I take a knife and then I cut on this doll, and then I want to cut across here until it reaches to the other loop, to the other side, like this. I'm going to do the same for the other leg until it reaches here, like that, and this is like that. Alright, so you can see, I can imagine that this is where I'm going to cut, and then with these loops selected, Then you can press Shift X to cut, and we should have two more leg shells that are separated like that, one over here and one over here. And we can try to unfold these now. You can unfold multiple selected shells at the same time. Okay, so now you can see the legs unfolded nicely. Okay, and then the patches as well. So whatever you unfolded, you just put it aside first. We can lay them out later. Now we do the arms. Okay, we already separated the ends of the arms here, so we want to detach them from the root here. So I'm going to double click to select this. Okay, this doesn't form a four-sided face at the end, so we have to manually select this. Then I will say Shift X to cut this out, and go to the other side, select these edges, and then Shift X, cut it out. And we can select the shell for each of the arms and bring it out. But right now we can't unfold this because we need to cut a seam right at the corner to unfold it. So we go over to this edge. We want to find a seam that is behind, that is not conspicuous. So rather than individually selecting the edge, you can start off with one edge here first, because we know this edge continues all the way here. Move to the end of the edge that you want to end, hold down the Shift and double click. So only this section is selected. And if you take a look at the shell, the corresponding edge is selected here like that. Then you can press Shift X. So rather than selecting in 3D space, you can also select it over here. Okay, we select the edge that is behind. So I already selected one of the edge here. Now because these are separated shells, I can double click on this, and in 3D space it will not continuously select all the way to the end here. Then I can press Shift X to cut this. Go to UV shell, Shift right mouse click and unfold. And unfold this again. Or because we already unfolded this, we can press G to unfold again. Okay, and for those pieces that are unfolded, right, we need to optimize the unfold, because the unfold here looks a little bit strange. So Shift right mouse click, optimize. Okay, you can press G again to re-optimize. And now we are only left with the body. Okay, so the body itself, let me just switch over to isolate view. Consists of this large patch on top here. We can actually select this edge on top, and maybe this edge as well, just to make sure that it unfolds a little bit better. Okay, and then Shift X to cut this, and then we want to cut a seam right from the center all the way to the butt here. So we can actually double click to select this seam, because there is a what do you call it? There is a pole. There's a pole over here, so the edge loop doesn't cut all the way through. Then I'll press Shift X to cut in the 3D mode. And technically we should be able to unfold this now. So we go to UV shell, unfold this, and you can see, yeah, it unfolds very nicely. Okay, so now you can see that my teddy bear body is unfolded very nicely. I'll select all of them. I'll use the Orient tool to straighten them. Okay, some of the shells, right, you have to manually straighten it yourself. And some of the scaling, right, also looks a bit off. You see this arm, right, and this arm, right. Okay, I don't know why the scale here looks so different. Okay, I might have to do a layout. Okay, let me check, see whether any weird scaling. Okay, I'll delete away the history. Freeze transformation. Select all the shells, and we're going to do a layout. Shift right mouse click, layout, and layout along UV. And now you see the scale are fixed. Okay, now all the both pieces, right, are symmetrically similar in terms of scale. Okay, and we can check again by turning on checker pattern to see whether our UV layout is successful. And you can see that all the UVs are consistent. Okay, there's a little bit of stretching here, but this is because due to subdivision. Okay, remember at level 1, right, everything should look about okay. Right, so if we want to reduce the this kind of stretchiness, right, anyway, we are going to be exporting this. If you're going to be exporting this to Unreal, right, we are going to need to subdivide this or apply a smooth onto this mesh anyway. So once you've done that, right, most of these stretching issues will go away. Okay, so this one looks good. Then now I can start with the head. So I'm going to select the head and turn on the checker pattern here. So instead of doing auto, right, I'm going to jump straight into UV laying out this head by first doing a camera projection. So do a UV camera, all right, and then now we figure out where to cut. Okay, so we will isolate this head, okay, and find out where do we want to cut. Okay, so I will most probably, let's take a look at the picture again. Okay, there's no visible seam, right, for this particular doll. So it seems that the seam, right, is cutting around the face area here. There is possibly a seam that is running through the center, okay, but I think we are going to go and use the center seam. I'm going to assume that there is a center seam that is cutting across. So I'm going to double click to select this loop, right, and then manually select the remaining loops here, all the way here like that, right, then press Shift X to cut, and I effectively, right, split this into two shells, the front and the back. All right. Then now for the back shell here, I think I want to separate the ears to UV layout. Oops, my ears, right, I got a problem here. Okay, again, it is because of accidentally selecting the wrong faces. Let me try to fix this. Control Shift full stop to increase the selection until these faces are selected. Delete them. Okay, it seems that there are double faces inside there. Okay, Shift full stop to increase the selection. Shift. Okay, I'll start again. Shift full stop to increase selection, and then delete. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to delete. Okay, let me go and see what is going on here. Let's see what I can delete away this face. Yep, I can. Alright, so yeah, I have to manually delete them. Alright, now I have to patch up the hole, fill hole, and fill hole. G to repeat last command. Okay, good. Now we fixed the ear already. So the ear, again, we are going to select the loop around the base of the ear, and then in our UV layout view, Shift X to cut. Same for the other sides. Then Shift X to cut. Then our ears are now separated. Okay, and then this particular back head here, in order for it to unfold nicer, right, I will select the strategic edges like this edge, maybe this one here, and these two edges over here and over here, like that. So it should, okay, I need to select this one as well. Alright, then I'll apply a cut, Shift X. So these strategic cuts, right, is to make sure that when I unfold, right, it'll unfold nice and flat like that. So imagine that this is the piece of cloth that is used to create the back of the head. So coming to the front here, alright, so the snout of the bear, I'm going to separate the snout by selecting the edge like that. Then Shift X to cut, and go and select the shell and separate it. This one I think we can unfold it, okay, with not much issues. Yeah, I don't want to add additional cuts here, otherwise you can see the seam quite clearly. Now for this head over here, I'm going to try to unfold it as it is first and see what we get. Okay, we get this circular look. There might be stretching going along the side of the edge here, okay, but we'll see. Now let's fix the ears. I'm going to select the loop here. Okay, Shift X to cut. So we're getting rid of the front here, which is this edge here and this edge here. Yeah, this one I can double click here because there are two poles on the side. It will not continue. Shift X, and then we have the front of the ear in shell mode, the front of the ear and the back of the ear separated like that. So we can now unfold, and then these two unfold as well. And I think we have unfolded the head. Now let's do a orient and layout, and it should pack everything nicely for us. I'm going to change the orientation a little bit, straighten up the face straighten out the head. Okay, this is the snout. Then this one is the one of the ears. This is the left ear. This is the right ear. Okay, this one should be, yeah, this one is the left ear. Okay, so you can manually do your UV layout until everything is nicely done, like that. Okay, I'm trying to use up as much of the UV space as possible. Okay, so now I'm going to run another UV layout, but this time I'm going to go to option box and see whether I can, yeah, there is no, okay, I want to run the UV layout, see whether it will mess up my rotation or not, but let's just see what happens. And I think this is fine. Okay, I think I can live with this. Alright, so now let's take a look at the checker pattern. Yeah, there's some stretching along the sides here, but I think it is not too bad. Okay, but generally speaking, that's it, the UV layout is done. So now I can exit from here. And let's experiment by putting in some materials. I'm going to turn off the checker pattern and perhaps download some cloth textures, okay, just to put it in. But I think I'm just going to apply a material first. Let's see. I can go over to the UV layout and you can go over to shell. Like right now these two shells are selected for the pads or the feet, right? I'm going to assign them with a separate material. So while in component mode, shift right mouse click, right mouse click, not shift right mouse click. Right mouse click and then assign a new material. I'm just going to put a blend material first. Then I'm going to name this as the feet or pads. Then just give it a temporary color first, a pink color. Okay, very light pink. Alright, so you can see now they are assigned. Now for the rest of the body, I can go to UV shell and select the arms and then the legs. Okay, actually the ends of the hands, right? I also want to assign the same material. So you can see you can select the shells and they are now selected. Then you can right mouse click, go to assign existing material, pads, and see now they are assigned to pads. Alright, so I can select all the pad shells, then select invert, okay, Control Shift I, then right mouse click, assign a new material, assign a blend material, then I'm going to call this the body, and just going to give it a light brown color. Okay, something like that. Alright. Then for the teddy bear head, I think for now, I'm just going to assign, except for the inner ear. Okay, the inner ear portion here, right, I still have not assigned a specific material. Okay, for the main bear itself, there is no separate patch here. So I'm going to just assign everything the same material. So go to object mode, right mouse click, assign existing material, then assign the body material. Okay. Alright, so now we can try out with some textures. Okay, let's go and find the so there's this textures.com, right, where you can find and purchase textures. There's sometimes free stuff that you can download. Okay, but not yeah, over here you can look under free, right? There are many different types of textures we can look for. Okay, unfortunately I need to sign in before I can use any of these textures, so I'm just going to do a general search. Okay, and maybe I'll look for fur texture. Okay, and maybe also you want to look for something called tileable. That means the pattern is repeated. Okay, maybe this one looks promising. Okay, this one is a little bit, what do you call that, a bit non-realistic. Okay, let's see, take a look at this one. Okay, so this is free. This is under free pick. Let's see whether I can download this. Okay, this is quite big. It's actually 3.1 megabytes. Okay, well, we're waiting for this to download. Let me see whether we have other materials that we can, or textures that we can download. Okay, for the pads, right, I'm going to use leather textures. Okay, I'm going to look for something that is a little bit beige or pink in appearance. Okay, maybe this one. Okay, and I'm just going to right mouse click, open image in new tab. Okay, there is a watermark on it, but I'm going to try just use this image first. I'm going to rename this. I'm going to put 00 so I can find it in front faster. Leather texture. Okay, I still couldn't find the, couldn't download the hair texture, so I'm going to look for another one that is free and available. TeddyBear fur texture. Tileable. We need to add tileable. So the pattern will keep on repeating. Let's see. Let's click on this one, see whether. Okay, it doesn't look like it's tileable. Let's take a look at this one. Okay. Okay, this one looks promising. This one is a grizzly bear texture. I'm going to save this. Right mouse click, save image as. Brown bear. Okay, brown bear texture. And save. Okay, so we're going to come over to Maya, and then we are going to edit this brown body material first. So let's select this, go to material properties, material attributes, then under the color, right, we click on the tab file. Then we're just going to load the brown bear texture straight away, and we'll see what happens. Okay, you see all the, it starts to appear. However, you can see that the size of the texture is too big, and also we need to change the material attributes. It's too shiny. So you can go over to the settings here to reduce the eccentricity. Now in Maya, right, the material type that we use, right, for the renderer currently that is being used is known as Arno. Okay, we'll learn a little bit about the different types of materials that is available for Arno. So right now, Blinn, right, is like a legacy materials. Blinn, including Lambert, Fong, and all that. These are very, very old material shader types. So they have certain limitations in order to make the material look realistic. So I'm going to switch the material type now from Blinn to AI standard, which is the AI standard surface, okay, which is the Arno renderer. So with that, right, I have more controls, right, to control things like the roughness or whether the thing is metallic or not. So under the color, and then we're going to click on the checker button, go to File. We're going to load up the fur texture again. Okay, and now we can see the fur texture, but you can see the fur texture is too big. We want to reduce the size of the fur texture, so go and click on the UVs. So what we can do is that we can select all the UVs, right, and then we can scale it up. Okay, as we scale it up, right, the texture on the bare surface, right, will become finer and finer. Okay, we can see a little bit of watermark on the texture, but okay, we're going to do the same for the rest of the items here. We're going to scale it up. Okay, so actually this is like the quick and easy way, but there's actually a numerical settings that we can set, right, to make sure that the bear texture, right, is smaller. Alright. Okay, now for the feet padding here, we're gonna replace that with the leather. So we're gonna right mouse click to the material attributes. I'm gonna change this one also into an AI standard. AI standard surface. Then under the color, we're gonna choose file, and then we're gonna look for the leather texture. Okay, now you can see the leather also is way too big. So same thing, we're gonna select the padding. Okay, and then we're gonna scale this up, and we can see the watermarks also that's being covered up. Okay, I'm gonna scale it up just a little bit, not too much. Then maybe move it around, up and down. Yeah. Okay, so right now our teddy bear, right, it looks a little bit dark. Okay, I think because of the material that we use, so we can try to maybe add some lighting. Let's create a directional light. This is akin to like sunlight, but in order for the light to be visible, we have to press number 7. And increase the intensity of the light. Okay, so now you can see the teddy bear a little bit clearer. Alright, so our teddy bear is missing the eyes, and also the snout, right, needs to be assigned with that leather material. So, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to select the faces. Okay, and right mouse click assign with I think it's number 2. Yeah, there you go. And I think for the eyes and then the nose area, just to keep it simple, I'm going to assign them with a plastic material rather than physically changing them. So I'm going to assign a new material for these faces. Right mouse click, assign a standard surface. And we're going to change the color, make it black. Maybe I want to increase the metalness and also reduce the roughness. Okay, I'm going to modify the eyes a little bit, make it bulge out a little bit. Alright, now this actually these teddy bears look very scary with jet black eyes. Look like a character from a horror movie. Alright, again we have our watermark over here. So I'm gonna select this and I want to move the snout somewhere. Alright, so that's the rough idea of how to UV layout this and then applying different materials to different parts of your object. Okay, so with that I think I can now end this video.